Hey guys, my name is Sosor, back again with my friend Otis.
Hi guys.
We are reviewing The Orville, episode 1. It's a Disney Plus series, but I'll let Otis explain more about it because he knows the most. He's already seen a decent part of the show. It's my first time watching.
So yeah, it's a bit in Belgium. It's Disney Plus. I don't know if it's everywhere in the world because it started on Fox. Pretty sure
Oh,
it started on Fox. So for us in Belgium, Fox falls under the umbrella for streaming of Disney Plus. But I don't know if it's there everywhere. I know it was on Hulu. I don't know if it's still on Hulu. Also, we only have 2 seasons, and I'm pretty sure the third season is either out or is coming out very soon.
all
So
right.
I don't know if we'll get it real time or delayed, but it's great.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's a Fox show.
yeah. So we watched the trailer before, and I kind of liked it. It was funny. Uh,
Mm,
Obviously a big Star Trek vibe. Um,
obviously.
yeah, it's kind of Star Trek. But yeah, I was looking forward to watching it, seeing their take. What's his name? Seth MacFarlane?
Seth MacFarlane,
I actually don't really know that guy, but apparently he's famous.
Family Guy. Family Guy is his. He started it. He
Hmm.
does most of the voices. I think he's no longer writing on it for at least a couple of seasons now, but it's by far his most famous work. Then of course American Dad is also his.
Yeah.
Ted, the movie Ted was his.
Don't know that.
And then he also no with the teddy bear.
Oh yeah.
Uh, and then he also did the not so great movie A Million Ways to Die in the West.
I haven't
Not
seen that.
the biggest fan. This is by far, The Orville is by far his best work, to my personal opinion. I liked Family Guy, but The Orville, yeah, it's fun.
All right.
And it's funny you mentioned the trailer because I think I even mentioned it to you when we saw it. The trailer is pretty much the first episode. There's not a
Yeah.
lot in the trailer about any further episodes, so
Yeah. Yeah.
everything now is completely new to you. You don't know what's gonna happen.
That's true.
What do you think? What do you think? Just general impressions before we go through it scene by scene. Overall impression.
Well, I liked it. It's obviously not very. At some points in the episode, it wasn't very realistic to me, like some of the things that happened. But obviously, it's a science fiction story, so I can suspend my disbelief for most of those.
I'll want to go into that when we get to the relevant scenes because I'm very curious what you mean with not very realistic.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so okay, let's jump in, right?
Okay, sure. So we open up with our opening scene. Our main character, Ed Mercer, played by Seth MacFarlane, arrives home in an
Mm-hmm.
egg.
Yeah,
Beautiful opening shot.
yeah, I liked it. The first thing I noticed what was that the flying car or whatever it's called was a bit weathered. I kind of liked that effect. You wouldn't see that in Star Trek. Everything would be like squeaky clean or completely destroyed.
Mm,
So
yeah,
yeah,
fair
I
enough,
like
fair
that.
enough.
Um, so yeah, he he sees his wife cheating on him. Uh,
With a weird blue guy.
I think the blue guy actually orgasmed at the end. I think that was kind of the blue stuff that was coming out of his forehead. Kind of
Could very well be.
kind of
I don't
icky,
know.
but
First time I watched it, I was like, "Oh God, is the blue guy dead?" And then you still see him moving. I'm like, "Okay, I just saw something else."
where your mind goes sometimes. Um, but yeah, so he leaves and the relationship
Admit
immediately.
it was the perfect response. Eh? Just, I'm done. No, no, I'm done. And he just closes the door and goes away.
Well, yeah, what else can you do really? I honestly I wouldn't know how to react in such a situation, so I couldn't say.
Fair enough, but I don't think you would just say, I'm done, be out, and then we get to the next scene, and we're 1 year later, and he clearly has not spoken to his ex-wife in a
Yeah,
year. That was kind of like, what?
yeah, that would probably not be what I would do. I would kind of try to maybe fix things up, but yeah, obviously he didn't. Then he gets so we see him 1 year later. Apparently, the admiral talks to him, and it's clear that he's been on a kind of a binge, drinking and having a shitty life for one whole year.
Mhm.
And then he gets the opportunity to be a captain.
Of
And
a mid-level exploratory craft.
yeah, well, it's better than nothing, I guess. Um,
Well, it's better than a low-level thing.
yeah, yeah, obviously. Um, but yeah, so he's kind of the opposite of the classic Enterprise captain that we all know and love from the Star Trek series. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's interesting to see that take, I guess, being like a buffoon a bit.
yeah. Okay, Cisco was also not this quick and clean captain, though he started the series as a commander. But I see what you mean. Yeah, it's not a legend like Kirk or Picard.
Yeah. Also, um, yeah, I wonder how the people in the Enterprise, or what am I saying, the Orville, obviously, are gonna look at him, and if they're gonna be like critical of him about the things that
Hmm.
he's done or not, maybe.
Well, he brought his best friend along, Gordon Malloy, the best helmsman in the fleet,
Yeah, yeah.
who
Um,
kinda has a startup. I don't know if you've ever seen Voyager.
Obviously, I have.
So, so he's in my mind, a bit more immature Tom Paris. It's the
Oh yeah,
crazy
that
good
guy. It's been a while.
pilot with a troubled past, who's also a holodeck playwriter.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
uh, it's it's very
Actually,
Tom Paris.
yeah, I forgot about Tom Paris. Actually, it's been a while since Voyager was actually my favorite Star Trek show, even
But the
ahead.
heights, yeah, the heights of Voyager were very high, but the lows of Voyager were very low.
There were no lows. All right.
Okay, we break warp 10 barrier. Now we devolve into lizards, kidnap our captain, devolve her, start lizard babies. Episode afterwards, no mention of it anymore.
Well, sometimes you just do weird stuff and you never talk about it anymore because it was too weird.
Yeah,
Yeah?
but Voyager's filled with this kind of weird things. But then, yeah, there are other episodes, mainly Doctor focused. The
Yeah.
comedy episodes were with the Doctor are gold.
Yeah. Obviously, everything was gold. But let's get back to the Orville. So, after he gets the news, he's very excited, obviously. Also, he gets the go from the Admiral to get his friend on board.
Yeah, and he also says the line, ever since I was a kid, I wanted to lead an exploratory ship or something along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, the entire episode felt a bit meta. It'll come up a few times, but they kind of felt like Seth MacFarlane telling us, ever since I was a kid, I wanted to be in Star Trek.
Yeah,
Because there
maybe,
are a
yeah.
few other things like that where they're more talking to the audience than, in character.
Yeah. It's very obvious from the episode that the creator is a very big Star Trek fan, obviously.
Because later on, we've got a scene where the classic line then comes off. Oh, no, no, this is a thing. And then even later, there's a scene where they're asking, um, we need to, you need to follow Alara, and then who's Alara? And it's like, oh, it's her. Oh, forgive me, I'm still learning your names. That's another wink to the audience, as in, yeah, we're just introducing all of these characters right now.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I guess. Yeah,
So, to me, this was the very first time that came up, and it came back 3 or 4 times.
yeah. So we get to meet what was his name? I forgot.
Gordon Malloy?
Yeah, Gordon Malloy, and we immediately see that there's also a holodeck or holo stuff in the Orville
The program
universe.
was also funny, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it was funny.
I mean, it was one of the jokes that really worked for me. It was like, oh, this big ogre I'm fighting, he's just a very nice guy.
Yeah, yeah, I guess. Um, but yeah, so I hope they do something with the holo deck. It's not really a holo deck, I guess, in holo room. I do hope they do stuff like that, like in the next generation where they had whole episodes about the holodeck. Um,
Yeah,
so,
yeah, I think that's a bit we need to consider though, and next gen and pretty much everything of Trek in the 90s. Was it 23, 27 episodes a season, 7 seasons, all except Enterprise, which only got four.
yeah,
And I think a lot of it as well, the holodeck was a bit like, okay, we're a bit tight budget. In the studio, we still have these. The set is still there. These costumes are still there. Oh, we'll do it in a holodeck. As
yeah,
in Old Trek, it was like, oh, now we go to a planet where everybody is a Chicago mobster because there's this one mobster book that they read, and now everybody's a Chicago mobster.
yeah,
So I think it's a bit the same.
yeah,
So, but yeah, there were some good holodeck episodes. The Moriarty is still a prime one.
yeah. So yeah, after that scene, they get to meet the crew, the main crew, the
Well, before we get to the main crew, we've got just some wacky hijinks in the shuttle. Gordon's drinking his beer,
oh
being a
yeah,
bit
yeah,
annoying. They have their close call, but then we get our first shot of the Orville, and I really like the ship design.
yeah, yeah. Me too, me
With
too.
the three half rings at the end, it's I don't know what it's kind of like a sea creature a bit.
Yeah,
It
it's
also it kind of feels like you know how the classic Vulcan ship designs are with this big ring at the end and then a smooth smaller vessel to the front. It
yeah,
kind of reminds me of that fused with a classic Star Trek ship design and then in colors and
yeah,
windows and those kind of things. It's kind of like they fused those two models
yeah,
into their own still unique design. There's still some uniqueness to it, but it's very evocative of classic Star Trek.
yeah. Well, it's very nice. I thought it was
Mhm.
cooler than the Enterprise design you see in Star Trek. But yeah, so then we meet the crew, and to me, my favorite. I don't know if you have a favorite at that point. My favorite was John Lamar immediately
Okay,
because
let's go through them maybe. Yeah, just in order of introduction, we've got our general speech to the crew, but
yeah,
we immediately say, okay, let's get to our senior officers. So the first one, Alara Ketan,
yeah, she's the strong one, right?
yeah, the Zelayan security,
Yeah.
who's 23, and I think the actress was also about 23 at that point, which
Mm-hmm.
I did think was funny. Though, with all of the makeup, she doesn't look 23. She looks a lot younger underneath all of that makeup, which I always thought was quite funny.
Hmm.
Because it's now by rewatching the first episode, I'm like, oh, yeah, she's in her early 20s. Okay, it's not a teenager.
Well, I wouldn't say she looks like a
No, no,
teenager though.
but in Hollywood terms, they always cast, or that's changing now, but they tend to cast young 20 somethings as teenagers.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
So, yeah. But no, it's so that's our first introduction to Alara. That's also where we first hear that, at least that I remember, that their version of the Federation is called the Union.
Oh
So
yeah, I
we
missed that.
have absolutely no view on the size of the Union or what that's covering. We just know they're called the Union and Earth is a member, is the
Okay,
leader. We don't know.
okay, yeah,
But then the joke, there's so little Zillions in the Union that we get fast-tracked because of it.
yeah, yeah.
But
I guess that's a bit of a play on our current
uh, a,
situation.
a bit
Uh,
of stab at what they call it, positive discrimination. They
yeah,
have a fancier term for it, but I
affirmative
did
action. I
affirmative
think you're looking
action.
for. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And then we get to John Lamar, our navigator. So why do you like him so much?
because of the soda story. Yeah, like he needed soda. He reminded me of myself. Like I don't really care that much about my job. I just have to have my fresh soup every day and then I'm happy. So it's kind of like him, like he wasn't very enthusiastic about being like what is his job? Helmsman as well? Or
Navigator. He's navigator. He's also highly classified. What was it, level 7 or level 8 or something as a helmsman?
yeah,
But no, our helmsman, we got an introduction. So that's Gordon.
yeah.
So he's a bit, where Sulu's the helmsman. Yeah, there's not really an equivalent of a navigator.
Well, wasn't Data like the navigator then in the next generation?
Yes, early on. Yeah, he was always a bit. Was he more the science officer?
Well, who was at the helm? Who was the helmsman?
Wesley did it for a while. The helmsmen were always very interchangeable. We had quite a few
Oh yeah.
one-off actors at the helm. I
Well, I
think
thought
Data was one of them.
Data was always at the front left.
Yeah, yeah.
So I guess he was the navigator uh, for the next
Mhm.
generation.
Yeah.
Could be. I don't really know.
Then we get to our second officer, Bortus,
Portus, he's like the the.
perfect straight man.
I don't remember him even.
Oh, come on. He's from the all male race who
Oh
only
yeah, yeah,
urinate
yeah,
once
yeah,
a
yeah,
year,
yeah, yeah,
who
yeah,
doesn't have a sense of humor at
yeah,
all.
yeah,
A bit, well, I think I mentioned to you offline before, he's a bit Spock and Worf together.
yeah. I guess, yeah,
A bit less Worf than Spock,
yeah.
but
He looks like Worf, but he's more like Spock, I guess. Yeah. Well, like any Vulcan, I guess.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
And so we meet our second officer.
I wonder what I'm not really like. Okay, I accept him as a character, but doesn't really draw me in or anything. I wonder if his story gets interesting. Obviously, his race is interesting, but I wonder how they reproduce. But
But it did show he was competent at least.
yeah,
He had
obviously,
the whole bridge thing that we'll get to.
wouldn't doubt him, his competence at all. Uh,
So next we get Dr. Finn.
oh yeah,
What do you
the
think of
medical
Dr.
officer,
Finn?
right?
Yes, played by Penny Johnson. Our first Deep Space Nine link in of the episode, because she was, I think I mentioned to you that you're sick of hearing it. She played Cassidy Yates in Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, and I haven't seen the Deep Space Nine.
I told you before, sacrilege,
Yeah,
such
yeah, I'm sorry. I'm
sacrilege.
sorry.
It gets a bit space opera at time,
I
but
tried
it's
it,
still
but
fun.
yeah,
Yeah, it's like any Trek series. First two seasons are a bit slow.
yeah. The
Like,
the the only thing that I didn't like, I like them being on a ship and traveling, and Deep Space
uh,
Nine isn't
it's a
like
very
that.
different setting, yeah. But it gets good. I agree, the first two seasons are a bit hit and miss. Like Next Gen first season was also quite, not trash, but almost trash. Let's
Yeah,
be honest. Really, season three is where it kicked off, and then it was great for like 4 seasons in a row.
yeah,
Yeah, Deep Space Nine is a bit similar. It's a bit crappy at start, just some good ideas, but everybody's still finding their way. And
yeah,
that's the one thing I have to give to the Orville is really it starts off nice and it only gets better.
yeah,
So they have a better start than a classic track.
yeah. Definitely. I definitely want to see more. Yeah,
Mm. But yeah, back to the character, Dr. Finn didn't really do much yet
No,
in this episode,
I
so we
actually
saw.
forgot about her already. Just now I remembered she existed. Um, so yeah, maybe she goes on doing something, maybe not.
Mm.
Not really invested yet into her character. Maybe it gets better. She seems kind of boring to me at this point, but
At this point.
we'll see. We'll see. Then we meet Discount Data,
Our
the
friend
robot.
Isaac
Yeah, from what was
from
his planet?
Kalon 1,
Kalon 1.
and
Yeah,
they're legendarily racist.
yeah. I guess that. Well, they're racist because yeah, they're kind of like higher beings, I guess.
But
And
they're very much the Ubermensch, but than as technology.
yeah.
We are the androids, and everything else in the universe is inferior to us.
Well, so they're not racist in a sense, like we aren't racist towards dogs, I guess. Um, but
But that's a bit. We're talking about sentient sapient races now, so the comparison with a dog.
yeah,
I know
well,
some people ascribe higher thinking to a dog. I really don't. So maybe I'm racist against dogs.
most
But
dogs you wouldn't call very intelligent, but
yeah,
some you would. Um,
yeah, but yeah, no, the comparison doesn't really. The moment we're talking about other evolved life forms from outer space who are sentient and sapient, we can start using the term like racist again.
okay, maybe, yeah.
Maybe speciest.
Speciest
But
seems
I'm using
better.
the term of the show, and the show they explicitly say your race is legendary racist, which in
Yeah,
itself is kind of a racist statement to make. Which
I guess. I feel sorry for the guy, the actor playing, though. I mean, he's never gonna be able to show his face, and he has to be in that suit the whole damn time. I
yeah, yeah,
I mean, they could have done like something like Data. Of course, it would be even more discount Data, but then at least the actor could like have some presence, I guess.
okay, that's fair. But then what is it? Anthony Daniels can say the same, eh? That's C-3PO. Everybody in the world knows C-3PO.
Yeah, that's true.
Way less people know him.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry for Anthony Daniels as well, because I never heard his name. So after that, yeah, that was the whole crew, I guess, the whole bridge crew, excepting the first officer, and that was like the first thing I thought, like, are they leaving without the first officer?
Yeah. So between the XO, so that's your second officer, executive officer. So between the XO settling in and introduction to the rest of the bridge crew, of course, we've got some settling in scenes.
Yeah, the scene between what was it, John Lamar and
So Gordon and John, or Malloy and Lamar.
yeah, I like the story about the pills and the hookers much better than the real story. I was really hoping that that was the story because the other story
Yeah.
was kind of boring. I was
Yeah.
looking forward to kind of like half of a drug addict at the helm.
Yeah, but it's another Tom Paris comparison because Tom Paris was flunked out of Starfleet Academy because he also did a risky thing with a shuttle, and people got hurt, and that's why you know
Yeah,
he got trumped out and then joined to McKee, and
yeah,
the
I
entire
forgot
story
all
starts.
about that.
So to me, it's a bit like, yeah, this Gordon Malloy
Your memory is
initial
way too
character
good, man.
arc is very familiar.
Yeah, yeah, I guess, yeah. So yeah, after that scene, I like John Lamar even better. I mean, he's a cool
Yeah,
guy, chill guy.
yeah. It's a good setup, and it shows characters willing to start making some connections.
Yeah,
And then we get our first the Admiral and Ed are discussing the mission. We get their question for the XO, and then we get some very nice shots of the bridge, which
Yeah,
is, a perfectly reasonable version of a Starfleet bridge.
yeah, it's exactly the same almost.
It has the similar layout, the chair for the captain, the chair for the XO, at the front the navigator and helmsman, at the side some panels. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's indeed very, very, very familiar, but still it works.
yeah, obviously it does. I liked it.
And then we get our ship taking off.
They do have a skylight, and I don't think other Enterprise ships did have a skylight, and that's a nice addition.
Yeah, yeah, it's a fair point. It's a fair point. Yeah.
Um,
But our ship gets taken out, the music swells, we get our soda shot.
just to go back a bit, like their conversation, was it that? Oh no, he didn't exactly drop the bomb yet, did he, the Admiral? Um,
No, 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 that's
yeah,
afterwards. So
yeah.
first we get our ship takes off, we get a music swell, we get our soda shot, then we get our scene on the bridge where they're discussing the Epsilon science station, which is their first mission. They need to deliver some supplies to the Epsilon science station.
Hmm.
And then there's the ping that there's an XO available and that the Admiral wants to inform our captain at privately, which I thought was funny. Oh, I'll take it on my station, and he sits in that chair where
Yeah,
everybody can see him, and that's him taking a private message from the Admiral.
yeah,
And then we get to the no, 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 no scene.
yeah.
So the clever viewer is like, oh, I think I know what's gonna
I
happen here.
didn't actually realize
No?
it. No,
Okay. My first thought was it's gonna have something to do with the wife.
I already forgot he had a wife. No, that's not true, but no, I didn't think about it.
Mhm. And we also get our first shot of the blob there, because he's rushing. He walks straight to the guy, through the guy.
That was kind of random in my opinion, but
Yeah, yeah. It's just establishing that we're all different. It's a Star Trek IDIC principle, infinite diversity and infinite combinations.
oh
It's
well.
kind of what we're being shown here as well.
Yeah, I guess.
And I did love the fact that when he's complaining to the admiral, this is not a good idea. It's my ex-wife. Why are you doing this? And then it's like, yeah, it's her request, and our system shows that your skill sets perfectly complement each other.
Yeah.
That I did think was quite fun.
Also, when he says that he's over it, it's very clear that he's not over it.
You don't stay away for a year and you're over it.
Yeah. Um, so then,
She arrives.
yeah, then she arrives, and then the first thing I didn't think was very realistic in the universe was
Mhm.
when they have the fight in the captain's quarters and everyone can just hear it, even when they're shouting. I mean, they're the captain's quarters. You're gonna have soundproofing everywhere. And I should think, even in a mid-level exploratory vessel.
Hey, those are the cheapest contractors available. You get what you pay for.
I guess, but that was obviously didn't really bother me. It
Mm.
was necessary for the dynamic to be set up. Um,
And also, before they have their argument, I did like the bridge gossip scene. Maloyas, and now we're gonna stay within PG-13. We get 2 curse words per YouTube, where Malloy says she's a total bitch.
what is that a thing?
That's a thing. That's
Really?
really a thing. Yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't even know. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, there's certain words, and I don't know if this one is included, but if you use it more than twice, and you ever get to a point where you want to monetize a channel, they can redact your monetization unless you have it set up as a mature thing, but then it's
Yeah.
behind the password wall.
Yeah.
It's a very YouTube thing.
All right. Yeah. Well, I knew YouTube didn't. I actually thought you got demonetized immediately when you even used one curse word. But so we have to.
Yeah, as far as I know, it's two.
Could definitely be that that would explain why when I watch some videos they bleep most of the curse words except
but
for
not all
like
of
one,
them.
yeah, not everything.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that would explain it. Then they
And then
have,
we get the this is a thing. mm, that they're like, maybe we shouldn't talk about this. No, no, we're talking about this. This
yeah,
is a thing.
I don't remember what you mean. What thing?
That's this. So the bridge crew is, gossiping, and then there's some voices coming up, and maybe we shouldn't talk about this. And then Lamar is, no, no, we're talking about this. This is a thing, and it's kind of like the second wink to the audience.
In what
Uh,
way? I don't get it.
that the relationship, the argument between the captain and his XO, the fact that they're ex-husband, ex-wife,
Yeah,
is one of the central things
yeah,
of the Orville, or at least season one of the Orville.
yeah. Well,
It's a thing.
yeah, I guess because when they have their private conversation, and she says to him, yeah, I might just transfer. Yeah, she's not gonna transfer, obviously.
Yeah, but that's already the end. Or did
Uh,
she mention it here as well? Yeah, she might have mentioned it here as well. You're right.
yeah, yeah, they mentioned it like that she could transfer if you wanted.
Well,
Uh,
he did get some nice
if
digs
they get a
into.
better, if they get a bet, if he gets another option. Uh,
Uh, but all that said, I did think the argument between them felt very real to me.
yeah, well, it seems like a typical argument they would have.
But it did sound real. It wasn't overly dramatized. She also made some very good points. So she's not just the bad guy, but on the other hand, he's also not
Yeah,
just the bad guy. It's clearly something went wrong in that relationship, and
yeah,
he ran. Rather than trying to fix it,
yeah,
he ran from his problems. And it's funny that he starts with "I'm over it," and clearly in less than a minute, it's so obvious he's not over it.
yeah.
And then she said, "Yeah, I bailed on my crewmates to support you here." And his immediate dig, just like how you bailed on our marriage, which was quite
I
funny.
will have my first prediction here.
Mm.
I think that they will, by the end of the season, have kind of like a small romance going on, and maybe they will have sex, but then they're gonna say, oh, it's not good for the ship and this and that, and so they're gonna go back to like not being together. That's my prediction.
Let's make a note of it. At the end of the season, when we do the recap, we'll see how right or wrong you are.
Yeah,
I'm
uh,
not spoiling anything.
yeah. Um,
But
okay.
come on. I thought I laughed a lot when she said that she proposed that they were gonna do couples counseling, and that his response, and it was a response phrased as though you will get you will be in the right, is, but the therapist was your brother-in-law, which means that the therapist is his brother, and that kind of implies that even he knows his family wouldn't side with him.
But no, 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 no. It's not necessarily his brother. It could also be the brother of her sister, the man of the husband of her
Yeah, husband
sister.
of her sister. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Okay, okay, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. I like to read it as though the family would side with her.
yeah. Maybe we'll find out. Who he actually means later. Also, I couldn't help but notice that she's physically, and maybe even like in her mind or her
Mm.
brain, she's kind of like an exact copy of Riker. Like physically, she's built the same way, in my opinion, and she's kind of a female version of Riker. That's what I
That's a
noticed.
very weird thing. I don't think she looks like Jonathan Frakes.
Yeah,
So the way she carries herself, okay, I'll follow you that that the way her professional character is displayed, it's very, very familiar to our number
yeah,
one,
but even
to
just like
Riker.
yeah, how she looks, it reminded me a lot of Riker, but
Uh, I, no, I'll I'll look at the next episode. I'll keep an eye on that.
Like her mannerisms and stuff, like how she was talking. It really
Yeah, it's
reminded me.
very much a first officer. Yeah, yeah. I'll pay attention to that. I didn't get a Riker vibe just yet, but we have yet another parallel.
Yeah. I don't know if it's intentional or not. It could just be like, yeah, I really noticed that at several points during the episode, so it wasn't just like a one time.
Mm. Yeah, no,
Um,
I'll keep an eye on that. You might be right. I don't immediately recall, but
so yeah,
hmm.
then she has a conversation with what was his name again?
Malloy.
With Malloy, where they established that Malloy is always gonna be on the side of Seth MacFarlane. What is the
At
Ed? Ed, yeah. I'm not good with names. Of course, after
mm,
the first 5 episodes, maybe I'll know all of
mhm.
them. Uh,
I did think that's the scene to me where you started really, getting more of a vibe for her, that you start feeling a bit sorry for her, especially when he starts saying, "Oh yeah, I psyched up the whole crew for you. I did put in a good word, and this personal drama won't interfere with the way we work." And he's just lying to her
yeah,
face.
obviously, but I
Ah.
wouldn't don't you think she knows that it's kind of a lie?
But I think no, I think the way they shot that scene,
Yeah,
she was taking him as though he was speaking the truth. Of
yeah,
course,
it's
she'll
true.
quickly figure out
Yeah,
that that he wasn't, but I think really that's set up as
yeah. Well, I never actually saw her as the bad guy either. I know I understood her story,
mm,
if her husband leaves for a year and she didn't want that. Obviously she could have, I don't know if they had a discussion.
what they clearly did, because she proposed couples counseling. You don't propose couples counseling out of the blue,
Yeah, I guess.
I
Yeah.
would imagine. But all that said, yeah, I mean, it's a tricky thing, cheating. I mean,
Obviously.
it's not always straightforward, but it's kind of in classical media. There's a right and there's a wrong when we're dealing with that, and here it's a bit more open. There's a lot of things that went wrong in that relationship, even though we only see the bare bones at first. There's clearly a lot that went wrong there, and I
Yeah.
think, and that scene to me kind of showed a more, because everything before was clearly framed from the relationship, and even though this scene is still talking more about the relationship, we're starting to get some definition into her beyond the XO and beyond the wife. You
Yeah.
see her as coming into play as a person a bit. We're
Yeah,
limited in
I guess.
first episode, have to introduce your entire ensemble. You only have 45 minutes, so nobody's fleshed out yet, but you can see the seeds being sown.
Yeah. Okay, so then we get on with the mission finally.
Then we arrive at Epsilon 2.
And immediately they get some kind of intrigue from the professor or the doctor.
Dr. Aronov, who is my second link to Deep Space Nine in this episode, because
Oh,
this
was he also a
actor,
character?
Brian George, also played Richard Bashir, who is Dr. Julian Bashir's father, who in the end of the episode we see him in, gets arrested for you know, the whole thing they did to Julian when he was
Hmm.
young. So
All right.
that was my second. I was looking at it, I was like, I know this guy. Where do I know this guy of?
Maybe I know him as well. He has that kind of face that you remember.
He does some minor characters here and there. He is in The Expanse, he's in The Big Bang Theory, but he's
Oh
mainly
yeah.
known
Oh
for a
yeah.
lot of voice acting.
Isn't he like Rajesh's father in The Big Bang Theory?
I think so. To be
Raj's
honest, I
father?
haven't seen a
Yeah,
lot of Big Bang Theory,
I
so
think he
for me
is.
it's
Yeah.
mainly I was flipping through channels and stuck around for 5 minutes. So
Yeah,
you could be perfectly right. I
I
don't
think so.
immediately know. I do know we're linking now to Arcane. This is our second actor who has voice acting experience in WoW and Hearthstone.
Oh yeah. Well, that's far-fetched link, I guess.
Hey,
Um,
we're linking things together.
I guess. Um, okay, so they get down on the ground to, because obviously they want to investigate.
Hmm.
Um, and then, yeah,
We get a very passive-aggressive introduction of our XO. Everybody,
oh yeah, yeah.
this is Dr. Finn, this is Alara, our Chief of Security, this is Kelly, my bitch ex-wife.
Yeah, that was funny, I guess. Yeah,
But then, yeah, we get a, what is it? The real story, because we didn't need the supplies, but we needed the Union to be here, and we need protection from the Krill.
the Krill, the big enemy, I guess.
Our first big enemy of the Union, the Krill, and what's going on Epsilon 2. There's a lab where they're doing a genetic engineering of seeds, and a lot of things, but they've also built this device within a quantum field, time can pass quicker.
Yeah,
And then we do get that predicted synergy between Captain Ed and First Officer Kelly,
the
that
banana
they're
joke.
mocking the banana, but they're riffing off of each other very, very, very well. I think that's, I don't know if that's off the cuff or if that was scripted. Whatever it was, it felt very natural.
Yeah, that was good.
It wasn't professional though.
Yeah, obviously it wasn't, but they do have a chemistry together.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, it was a nice scene. And then
yeah.
obviously yeah, they explain the whole thing, how, well, kind of how it works.
They
Um,
kind of don't explain anything. It's typical track bubble.
yeah,
Oh, it's
obviously.
within a quantum field. We cannot accelerate time, and you're sitting there like, uh
And then the other doctor's like, "Whoa, a quantum field! Oh, I thought it wasn't possible, but theoretically, yeah, sure." Trying to validate the nonsense. Uh,
and everybody's watching it is like, uh-huh.
yeah, but yeah, I don't mind that stuff.
Oh no, it's typical Star Trek.
So yeah, and then I guess the Krill attack.
No, not yet. So there's this lab coworker, a
Oh yeah,
Derek,
yeah.
because of course it's a Derek.
Typical Derek.
Yeah, he's working for the Krill, and then he kills one of the aides, and
I did like the joke, like, of course it's a Derek.
yeah, I kind of liked. Of course, it's a Derek as well.
Yeah, Derek. So he,
But indeed, he's working for the Krill. He kills the woman by pushing her in the quantum field, where you can then see the rapid aging.
yeah.
And then we see the arrival of the Krill. We see our Krill destroyer. What do we think of the Krill destroyer ship?
Um, yeah, wasn't it like kind of like how what's the main enemy called in Star Trek? Forgot.
The depends on what period you're talking to. We've got what? We've got the Klingon. We've got
Not the
the
Klingon,
Romulan.
the Romulans. It
We've got the
kind of
Borg.
reminded me of a Romulan ship.
No, no, a Romulan is more rounded. This was very angular. It reminded me when we see the front, it kind of reminded me of something squid-like. It's like with the beak, the kraken beak, and then like the tentacle arms around it. If you see a front shot, you see what I mean. No, a
Oh yeah,
Romulan is more rounded.
yeah. Now that
That's
I look at it again, yeah, I but it gave me a Romulan vibe. The whole, uh, yeah, the whole
yeah, I have to
enemy.
say, yeah, their design reminded me a lot of the Remans. You know, the Romulans off-brand cousins from Star Trek Nemesis.
The
They,
Remans.
yeah, I don't
I
know if you've seen Star Trek Nemesis. If you haven't,
mm,
don't bother.
the Remans. I'm just gonna look this up.
Yeah, they kind of remind me a bit of the Remans.
Uh,
They kind of remind me of a few things really, but they look like a classic Star Trek villain. The look of them is very correct there.
Oh yeah, just the physical look of
Yeah,
the.
physical, just the physical
I
look.
thought you were talking about the ship. Uh,
No. They're the aliens themselves.
yeah, I never. Yeah, I don't remember that, so I must have never seen anything with a Riemann.
Yeah,
Uh,
to be honest, I think they're only in Star Trek Nemesis and maybe Star Trek Online or such, but as in televised shows, I think it's only in that one movie.
yeah, but I did like the look of them. I kind of liked how they looked, kind of orcish. Um, yeah, I
Mhm.
liked it. So
So yeah, the bad guys arrive. They're kind of, in one way, they're also a bit Klingon-like, very aggressive.
yeah,
They have their own special little language,
yeah,
which is subtitled, which I do like. And our crafty crew disassembles the device and starts running it.
yeah. A few things about the scene. Um, I always think when I see Star Trek gunfights that just a normal gun would probably be more effective. Just like bullets, real bullets, if you want to kill someone. Like the lasers, they don't seem to kind of do a lot. But that's just a Star Trek thing, I guess, and I have to accept it. But almost every time I have to think about it, how bullets would probably be better.
It depends a bit, So in Enterprise, it's speed of light. Sorry, Enterprise. In Next Gen, it's speed of light. They turn it on, the beam is hitting. They can use it to heat stuff. They can disintegrate and atomize someone with a shot if you go to a higher setting. With a normal gun, you don't have settings. You need to,
Yeah,
up your caliber and take a new gun if you want to do more or less damage. So I think.
uh, they storm in, obviously,
Mm,
with the idea of um, like killing everyone that stands in their way. And in
mm.
that sense, I think like just an M4 would probably do the job better. But yeah, that's just my opinion, I guess.
I think there are a lot of people. There are more people than you would imagine who do survive getting shot
Yeah,
with a
you
bullet.
survive, but you're not gonna fight back at that point. Uh,
Uh,
they were also missing a lot of shots.
yeah, it's a classic sci-fi action scene. Yeah, that's right. I don't think anyone really in sci-fi. I don't think violence has ever been done well on the big screen. At least not often.
Yeah.
These are, yeah, it felt a bit like Star Wars initial
Obviously, I
Stormtroopers.
have accepted it since
Mm.
forever, but too bad they didn't. I mean, they could have maybe done more with that, but I guess they didn't.
Yep, and this is also where we get the scene I was talking about, where they're telling the doctor, "Stay behind Alara." He's asking, "Which one's Alara?"
Yeah, 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 that's nice.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I'm still learning names, which is again a wink to the audience.
yeah, yeah. That's a good one. Also, I was thinking about Alara. She seems very overpowered, which I don't mind in and of itself, but I do hope she has a weakness. Because if it's gonna be like that all the time, where she doesn't have a weakness at all, and then she saves everyone, that's gonna be kind of like maybe stupid sometimes. So I do hope she has a weakness at some point.
Well, it's an introduction, so her character showcase.
Obviously,
The main
obviously.
thing is, I mean, we get a bit the same with Malloy. Malloy gets his hugging the donkey moment, where there's some fancy flying.
Yeah, obviously. But we know his weakness. His weakness is just, I guess, general vices, like drugs
His
and
weakness is
alcohol.
personality.
Yeah, maybe it is, but
Well, hers, as far as the first episode sets up, is the fact that she's the youngest one
she's
there.
very young, inexperienced. Yeah, but that's not like if that's not like a permanent weakness. So she will learn, and at some point she will be completely overpowered. If that's her main weakness.
Yeah, that said, Malloy can also stop drinking. There's enough relief programs, and especially in the future,
Yeah, but then he's still just a human. Uh, he's not
if
gonna.
she grows up, she's still just a Zillian. It just so happens that Zillians are significantly stronger than us.
Yeah, so why are they not ruling the universe? Is my question.
Because most of them choose to remain on the planet. And it's why they get fast-tracked if everyone wants to join the Union Army.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll find out. Well, I didn't mind that she was so strong though. Um, but she saves them all. I do like them addressing the shoulder afterwards. I was afraid
Mm,
that they weren't gonna do that, so I did like that they addressed that he was hit. Um,
Ed, now you're talking about him, our
yeah,
captain.
Ed. Yeah,
So yeah, we get to the shuttle launch, where I do like the fact that everybody's wearing seatbelts. I made a note of it. They wear seatbelts, and then not 5 minutes later,
yeah,
the seatbelts are also
the thing
a
that
point.
saves
But
them.
it's the one thing that always frustrated me in Star Trek is they get thrown around all over the bridge,
Hmm.
and a lot of their injuries could have been prevented by, wearing seatbelts.
Yeah,
And I can understand that you need to be able to switch post and blah blah blah, but really just wear your seatbelts, kids.
yeah.
Saves more lives than it ends.
The second thing I didn't really find very realistic is how they saved the shuttle. Uh, like that was too crazy. Uh,
That's no, Malloy is just that good. Malloy
uh,
is just that good. No, I agree. It's ridiculous that the shuttle didn't just crash through a lot of decks and hurt a lot of people.
yeah, also it just landed perfectly still where it had to be. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
one thing I was kind of like hard to suspend my disbelief there.
Yeah, and it's also in that scene that the CGI was a bit wonky to me, is when they're dodging, the Orville, one of its three, I'm gonna call them nacelles because that's what they're called in Star Trek. So one of the three drive engine thingies gets, destroyed.
Yeah.
So they're flying through all of this rubble, and that looked, and I know it's fake, but that looked fake. And there's a few shots like that here and there where it's a bit too fake.
Well, I actually didn't notice that.
But in that scene, I noticed it. But then it's the first episode. It's probably also the pilot episode.
Yeah,
But that kind of stood out to me. Where for every other scene, it's the same quality, but it was less noticeable. Also because dramatic music and some characters in view and things like that. But here, I really noticed the CGI a lot.
yeah. Well, I didn't, but maybe I wasn't really paying attention enough. So yeah, and then they're back safely on the bridge, and they have the device, and then they get comms from the what was their race called?
The
The
krill.
Krill leader captain from the other ship.
Where we get our second framing joke, because we didn't mention it, but our friend Dr. Aronoff, when he was in frame, and I noticed it as well. There's a dog in the background licking its
Oh
bollocks,
yeah,
and that kind of that's the first thing you see,
yeah,
and it's like what? And every time you try to focus away, it's like no, it's really framed in such a way that it draws all your attention.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that was the first framing joke, and they do mention it,
yeah,
but here as well we get our Krill on the view screen and he's off center,
yeah.
and the red is like, could you just take a few steps to the side?
Yeah, I did. I liked the joke, but I do. It kind of ruined like the tension of the scene for me. But of
Mm,
course, it's just the first episode. But I hope they are not gonna do that consistently, where it's kind of like tense,
yeah,
and then they let's crack a few jokes and take it
yeah.
all away.
So I don't want to spoil a lot, but I mentioned it to you before when I was trying to sell you this show to watch. It gets less wacky as it goes along. There's still this comedy vibe is
Hmm.
still there, but it's less jokes thrown to your face. It all
Yeah,
becomes a bit more settled
yeah,
over time, and I think it's really because it's Seth MacFarlane wanted to do Star Trek,
yeah.
and I think he's doing a very, very, very good
Yeah,
job of
it felt
making
to me
Star Trek.
like that joke was a bit too forced, as if they really want to bring home, yeah, this is funny, guys.
Mm.
Keep watching, please. While I think if they just went on with the scene, it would have been better to
Yeah,
me.
maybe. Yeah. Yeah,
But
I can see it. I can see it. Yeah, it's to me also first episode is some of the jokes. I mean, in essence, I didn't mind the jokes, but in the overall, I'm like, yeah, I could have done maybe without the obvious joke here. So if
yeah,
I would give the Orville one episode one a point of criticism, sorry, that's really there. It's this one. It's the jokes are sometimes a bit
yeah, I
too
think
much.
they that joke. I mean, I still liked it, but that joke took away from what they had established as a tense scene. So,
Mhm.
but other
Yeah,
than that,
especially because then immediately afterwards we get the second joke, is we're gonna keep him talking, and in the end it doesn't matter, and
yeah.
it's all the marriage, and you're sitting there like, okay, I get that this is a thing. I agree that it's a thing, and we shouldn't just pretend it didn't happen and things like that. But time and place,
Yeah, but that I found less annoying in the sense
then the
that,
framing joke.
yeah, because it in the sense that uh, they wanted to keep him, yeah, keep him busy.
Yeah,
So they
okay.
wanted to like, but to me the framing joke was worse because if I was the captain of the other ship, I would definitely not like be, oh, is this okay? Um,
To be honest, I would be that idiot that does take the step to the left or the right, because I'm the same kind of neurotic. I would also be the guy sitting there in the captain's chair asking if someone could move, and then
yeah,
I'm so polite that if someone else asked me, I would do the same, even if we're in this tense standoff. Because also, I think the Krill were sure of their victory, and they were very much the deflector shield was
yeah, I
gone
guess,
of the Orville. They were the winners. It's easy to be magnanimous if you're the victor. So in their
yeah,
mind, they had already won.
I
So
guess.
maybe that overconfidence as well. Maybe
Yeah.
I'm reading too much into it.
But yeah, the discussion about the marriage I found was more realistic because it's harder to actually get in between a man and a wife. There, even if you're like the captain of an enemy ship, it still like throws you off better than like the framing stuff,
Yeah, okay,
in my
okay.
opinion. But
I think I like the framing more because it was a second iteration.
yeah,
I kind of like comedy to echo in the same episode.
yeah,
So maybe that's more, yeah. There's maybe some taste differences. Who knows?
yeah. So then
But
they
anyway,
concoct a plan with the seeds.
yeah.
Uh,
So we're gonna give the device to the krill, but we're gonna sabotage it by gluing one of these genetically engineered redwood seeds on it, and that leads to I think the coolest visual of this episode,
yeah, yeah.
where a giant redwood tree grows out of the krill ship.
I do wonder at you know the uh,
If physics would allow it.
no, not that. I think obviously it's established that the device does I mean miracles, so I don't mind that. But like the how big the tree was in comparison to the ship. Uh,
It's a genetically engineered redwood tree.
oh yeah, I
Because
guess.
also, don't forget, time passes, but we're not giving it water, we're not giving it sunlight, we're not giving it minerals. So
Oh yeah, it was both. Yeah, yeah, it was both the genetically engineered seed as well as the device. Like, yeah, oh, yeah, okay. So yeah, I kind of liked it. Looked pretty cool. But yeah, after that, so they win. And then I guess, do they go back? How do they go back? I mean,
it's when that ends, more or less, we get our end scene where Kelly arrives in Ed's office. And
yeah,
she's like, okay, I'm gonna leave. There's another XO available. And at first he's like, okay. But then when she's stepping out, he kind of realizes, yeah, we did work together. So the system is right. We do play off of each other. And then he says, "Okay,
Yeah,
I want you
but
to
just to go
stay."
back a bit, if this
Okay.
was Voyager, they
hmm
would not be able to go back because their engine is ruined. And
If this was Voyager, there was not even a discussion about I'm gonna leave because they're 70,000 light years away from
yeah, but I
home.
mean in the sense that they never address the fact that they came at warp speed to where they are, and then how do they get back because their engine is
Yeah,
ruined?
I think Voyager is a bit the wrong series to use. You should refer to Enterprise, where if there's damage, especially during the whole Delphi Expanse season, there really, if there's damage, next episode there's damage. Voyager can get wrecked in episode 5, and in episode 6, you don't see that it was wrecked. Voyager is very inconsistent there. It's a bit the wrong example to
Yeah,
take.
okay, maybe it
In
is.
the
Yeah.
setting of Voyager, you're right. If Voyager had been done with a plan of we're gonna make, with the core idea of we're 70,000 light years away. It's gonna take us 70 years to get home. Normally, you would say if you take damage there, in the next episode that damage is there, or we make a note of we fixed it, this or that. But Voyager, every season was specifically made to stand on its own, and it's why you'll see most character development happening across seasons and not a lot during a season.
Hmm. I never
So they
noticed
will
that.
have a tendency within the same season, they'll have a tendency of always having two episodes where they learn the same thing because the episodes could be broadcast out of order. We had it in Belgium. I know it happened in Germany because there it's
Hmm.
where it started. They When it was first aired, all the episodes were aired out of order. Like the first episode shown tended to be not the first episode, but the most popular episode of the first season when it was
Oh, really?
broadcast in the US. So that's
Oh,
a bit, yeah, that's a whole different discussion.
yeah.
But it's just to say with Voyager, it was a bit difficult to make
Okay.
comparisons with that show. Though I
Yeah.
love it, but it has quite some flaws.
All right.
But anyway, Kelly agrees to stay. We get our final reveal that it was her who arranged for Ed to get his command. She doesn't want him to know, and that's the end of our episode. And I did like that. I did like that reveal when she's in the admiral's office, and it turns out she lobbied to get him his command, and she doesn't want him to know. So she's not
Yeah.
using it, you know, to get back in his good graces. She's like, no, no, he deserves this command, and we're not gonna tell him. And I did like that.
Yeah. Also, if he probably if he knew, he would maybe sabotage the whole thing.
Yeah, that's also true. That's also
Uh,
true.
and I also think he's already falling in love again at the end of the episode. I kind of got that vibe.
Well, you get the clear vibe that they do have synergy. They have chemistry. It's really well acted. I really have to say. I really, really, really liked the
Yeah,
episode.
the actors were all very good. I never had
Mm.
like
Yeah, but
uh,
it's convincing that these two, and when they say, yeah, the system says you fill each other's holes,
you fill each
each
other's
other's strength.
holes.
Yeah, I know it's so wrong to say, but you play
Nice.
off of each other's strengths. Let's put it that way. Then it does work. It
Yeah.
does work. They manage. It's a very well written script. It's very well acted. It's nice. It's maybe a bit too crisp. It's
Yeah.
everything's very clean. The image, the digital. It's very high definition, but it's everything feels a bit sterile, which probably works in a futuristic world. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's a bit too sharp for me.
Hmm.
But it's still pretty. It's good lighting, good some very nice sets.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm not kind of like yeah, I know where you're going with this. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very well done, but yeah, it could do with a budget up just for production value a bit more, just to
Hmm.
tighten that a bit more because I think from a script perspective and from a acting perspective, we're on the good track. I think production value could maybe go up a bit, and I think that's probably also funding,
Yeah.
most likely.
Well, it didn't bother me at all. Um, I liked the atmosphere and all that, so yeah. I thought it was nice.
Safe to say, we'll continue this.
Yeah, for me, I'm definitely interested to see how it develops and
All right.
to see how much of Star Trek is gonna be in there and in what sense it will be Star Trek or not.
Mhm.
I'm definitely interested to see where it goes. Yeah.
All right, super.
Um,
So we'll talk more Orville, which the discussion I'm leading a bit, in 2 weeks' time, because next week our friend Susur will again lead the discussion when we get to Arcane episode 2.
yeah. So yeah, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed watching or listening or just being with us. Um, and comment anything that you liked or didn't like. You know, you want to explain something or you want to give us some advice. I don't care. Just put a comment. So yeah, see you in the next one. Bye
Take
bye.
care, everyone. Bye.